Greeting fellow modelers. Today, we're going to be looking at another MAREK beauty, the Fuselage Fi-167A, a German torpedo bomber. This would have been excellent if we had more footage. Well, next best thing, build one. Let's start with the former. Here we have the Fuselage Fi-167, and as usual, he shows you the layout of what it looks like and what we really need to get it done. I have again took the liberty of just modifying the colors a bit to be a variation of the model TJAN. Start with cutting out the cockpit section, and this is where I would focus on later. In the meantime, I'm going to just double the former, cut these out so that once I start building the fuselage, these will be in easy reach. And once we have these formers, we can just go straight to making the compound fuselage and put these in to hold the shape. More on this later. Let's begin with the cockpit. So the cockpit it's very simple, very straightforward, and at much larger scale, it should be easier to be built. Now I'm using the back part of my blade to score it so that it can fold a lot easier. And then we cut the parts out. I go through probably 2 or 3 blades per model. Maybe more depending on the size and the scale and the complexity. So invest in a bunch of blades if you can. Here you see that in scoring the parts needed to fold, it makes it a lot easier. And then I just wipe the corners with super glue. So the pilot seat. Just following the instructions on the sheet, cut, you fold, and I flatten, cut the part out, and there you have it. Simple, straightforward. And now we do the sides for the seat. Same method of scoring, folding, gluing, cutting. There's super glue between those joints, and I just use a toothpick to wipe the joints in between the joints to make it happen. This is the base of the pilot seat. Yes, they are very small, and remember, this is 1/72nd scale. His model come in 1/33 scale. So it will be much easier. And because some parts are just too small, I substitute with toothpick. So we put the legs on this seat, and then we put the cross brace in between, which is a toothpick. There you go. And the second one, nice. Now work on the base. We get the base in, and onto the base we now mount our pilot seat.
Good.
So let's deal with the navigator station. There's a lot of cutting out in this, and to secure the parts so that I don't cut them to pieces, I use a bit of super glue on the top of it to make it a lot more solid before I start cutting the parts and pieces out. If you like what you have seen so far, I would like to ask, please, if you could consider subscribing or even just leave a like. It would really help this channel out tremendously, and I'd appreciate it. Thank you, and I hope that you continue to follow me for this journey. As you can see here, the folding that I'm doing, it's all super glue reinforced. So it was easy for me to be bending and folding. So once we put that framework, we put the edge of that seat in there. And this now we'll install in the model. Lovely. And then what seems to be a seat belt attachment, we put just above the navigator rear gunner section. And there we have it. Simple, straightforward, beautiful. And so the big gun, the full fuselage build. We're going to cut out all this section you're seeing here, and then we're going to put it aside. And then after we cut all the sections out, we're going to roll each section individually, glue them to form cylinders, and then we attach the individual cylinders. So that's a process to form the fuselage. Here you see I use the handle of the paintbrush to roll it. It is small enough, the diameter, and it makes it more malleable. And here now we're going to form the cylinder. And this is the one I choose to start with. This is important. We're installing the gun throw first, the channel where machine gun will be. We're installing this first, and then we put the joiner. We cut the joiner. We're going to cut the other section out for the gun trough. Roll it, create the cylinder, make sure that the lines are aligned. Here you see I'm cutting out a small box for the structure, the base wing structure. Now we apply glue and we're joining the two cylinder parts. And the fuselage comes together really nicely. Spend your time here. Make sure the joint is perfect, and then flatten it out using a cake decorative tool. That's what I use. Here now, because the parts are so small, I'm making sure going, there you have it. Nice. Again, just to hold it to the edge, we use super glue. And now we put the formers in that will hold the shape. So this is how I achieve it. You first join the skin made from cylinders, and then I put the formers in, which help tremendously with the shape. Now here you see I'm going to attach the joiner tab first before I cut the back. Because it's so thin, it will come apart, which is what we don't want. We then roll it and we continue as we do. Here you see I'm holding the former into place just to check the shape of the cylinder I'm forming. And you see now I've joined here. This I will use the same thing to flatten, but pay attention carefully to what I'm doing now. That joiner I'm putting on the front half. Then I'm putting in the cockpit we just made. Secure it in place. Looking pretty decent. And now we're going to put the other former in below. Once that's gone in, then you can seal the cylinder here, because now it takes a different shape, and I want you to just pay attention carefully to the shape it has. We continue as usual now with the back. We'll put the former in, and then we can join the rest of the fuselage rear together. So pretty much that's it. This is how we bring the fuselage together. So in the next episode, I'm going to show you quickly how we deal with the bottom of the fuselage and the unique traits the fuselage will have, and then we go on to putting her feathers on. Remember, this is an instructional video, so you have not seen the hours that it takes to try get this thing very clear, very concise, that I've left out. It's not a race. Take your time and you'll get there. This is the last part of the fuselage that we form before you see me just cutting out the areas for the stabilizer and the rudder fin. And now we join the parts. And there you have it. So then, my friends, take care, walk good, and one love.